Hi guys, today we're going to discuss the Kundli or horoscope of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We're going to go through some of the prominent things in his chart which led to great events in his life, and also discuss his death. Okay, so this on the left is Lagan chart or D1 chart, and on the right side is the D9 chart, also known as Navamsha chart. So moon is placed in the ascendant. So this also makes this D1 chart the Rashi chart or moon chart, and which makes all these signs present here more prominent to this native than any other native. So moon here, as you might think, is debilitated and might give him mind troubles or something, which is not the case. As you have a look, moon is also the lord of the ninth house, which is the highest of the dharam trine, and also fortune is governed by this house. Your religious views and other cultural views, father is signified in the ninth house, so that comes in the ascendant. It signifies a good thing. Also, the position of moon in the D9 chart is in the second house, where it's exalted in the Kalpurush Kundli, and it comes out of debilitation in this one in Aquarius. So, I would like to talk about the most prominent thing I think in Mr. Atal Bihari's life was that the sign Scorpio, as his ascendant sign, the rising sign in the east is Scorpio, which I think has played a very important part in most of the events in his life, as this sign is the symbol is also a Scorpio, and as you know, the Scorpio is a very secretive creature, and it has a weapon in his tail, which is for a surprise attack, and probably the person who the attack is for does not see the sting coming, and that is the case with Scorpio ascendant people. And I think Atal Bihari Ji's has proved time and again that he is very secretive in things that he wants to do. As we can see in 1998, I think, though I'm jumping, but yeah, the Pokhran nuclear tests were conducted against, I think, the approval of the United States, which was considered really. Uh, I don't think anybody else would do it because you don't want to go against the Americans, which he did. So I think, and even before partition, he was really active. I think from the age of 16 or 10, in different political parties and revolutionary movements, and got arrested many times as well. Like I think a couple times in 1942 and in 75 for 2 years. I think he was arrested, but it is because of so many secret movements that he's always been inclined to fulfill his destiny towards. Okay, so let's see where the ascendant lord is placed. The ascendant lord, the Scorpio's lord, is Mars, which is placed in the fifth house in Pisces. Now, that is a good placement for the ascendant lord, as the second sign, Aries, Mars is placed 12th from it. So, according to the Bhavad Bhavam rule, any any placement or in the 12th from the sign gives loss of that particular sign. So in this case, the sixth house significations are being lost or spent because of the placement of Mars in the fifth house, which in my opinion is again one of the most prominent things in this chart, which gave Mr. Atal Bihari a edge or advantage against his enemies, because sixth house rules your enemies and your disease. The loss of your enemies or the disease of your enemies mean you can just easily defeat them. And in this case, his Mahadasha of Mars came in 1975, and he defeated Indira Gandhi and the Congress government, along with his party, of course, um, in that period. And that period was one of the most important uh, few years of his life, which laid a strong, very strong foundation of his prime minister, as being a candidate for Mr. Prime Minister in the years to come. In that time period, also, he was, I think, the first person to speak in the United Nations as a foreign ambassador for India, which we can see is because of this dasha being so prominent. Also, if you look at Mars in the D9, let's have a look here. It is in the 10th house in the sign of Libra, with Venus, which is in its Mool Trikon sign. So this Mars becomes much more softer in the outlook and approach, also being in the sign of Libra, which is with symbol of Libra is balance and diplomacy. Natural diplomats are is a natural thing coming to this sign, and Mars over here would give you a very good diplomatic approach, and that is what happened. His approach was so diplomatic that his enemies, his friends, nobody could just speak against him because he was so diplomatic and shrewd as well. But because of the soft side of Venus, it was like a knife covered with flowers. So you just can't do anything. You have to take the knife. So this was, I think, one of the most prominent periods in his life. Now have a look at uh, the placement of Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury in the second house. I think Jupiter, as you might think, is in its Mool Trikon sign, would be really strong, which, in my opinion, is not the case. Because if you look at Jupiter in the D9 chart, is it in this? It's in the sixth house in Gemini, and Sage Prasher says that any planet posted in the sixth, eighth, or 12th house in the D9 chart would not give good results, and that is the case that happened with him as well. See, Jupiter here is also combust, and what happens is when Sun burns Jupiter away, it also it would still have some qualities of Jupiter. So some wisdom is gonna come there. Mercury is gonna give some logic and a lot of intelligence, and Sun here is gonna it's gonna give you a lot of confidence. And because the second house is also the sign, also the place for your speech and your home, like could be India or where you live in India. So this is your home, the second house, and your surroundings. So Sun being here would make him really patriotic as well, which would explain a lot of things, like how his speech would be governed by a lot of confidence that you have to listen to him, and also because he had logic and wisdom in his speech. So that, in my opinion, was a very strong sign, so that which could probably lead him to become one of the 10th, I think, 10th president, prime minister of India. Okay, so let's go back and discuss what happened after the Mahadasha of Mars, which ended in 1982. And then came Rahu's Mahadasha. In Rahu's Mahadasha, he became the Prime Minister of India, so we must discuss that, which is placed in the ninth house in Cancer. And as you all know, ninth house is the highest of the Dharam trine. Um, it governs fortune, father, religion, foreign travel, prosperity, your higher thinking, your cultural views, your traditional views, your teachings. It all comes here in the ninth house. Rahu present here would would give you a lot of foreign travels, and he traveled and he met, I think, the Russian president, and I think he even met Bush, and strong allies were created between India and the foreign countries because of Rahu placed here, because Rahu is a foreign element, foreign planet, and over here it's just going to go and give you all the foreign things that you want to experience, and that is what happened in Mr. Atal Bihari's case as well. So this position of Rahu just gave him a lot of boost, just to express his views, his unorthodox or different views, to the masses, to gain popularity and eventually become the 10th Prime Minister of India. That too, even like I think 3 times he was elected. Some voting issues and all, but maybe because Rahu is a natural malefic, so there were some troubles. But Rahu was one of the most significant, Rahu Mahadasha, get him into the prime ministership. After the Rahu Mahadasha came Jupiter's Mahadasha in the year 2000. Jupiter, as we've already talked, is in the second house, but it is combust, and the position of D9 is also in the sixth house, which isn't really great. The sixth house governs enemies and diseases. So when this dasha came, he was naturally um, put into, like, he had to face a lot of diseases and troubles related to heart and mind. I think he also had some kind of dementia, couldn't recognize people. I think 2009 he had a heart attack. And the good thing over here is Jupiter, because it's the most benefic planet. It also gives you solutions for all those troubles or diseases it has to give you. So all the like if you had a heart attack, so he would get hospital, and all the proper medication that you need to happen will be delivered, and you will know how to survive. So he didn't die in the Jupiter Mahadasha. And after the Jupiter Mahadasha, Saturn came, and Saturn Mahadasha was when he died on 16th August 2018, nearly 2 years after the Saturn Mahadasha started. Saturn is placed in his 12th house in his D1 chart. It is exalted, as you see, but any planet in the 12th house gives loss of self. So the position of Saturn isn't really great here. Also, if you see in the D9 chart, it is placed in the third house, and third house is the most death inflicting house in the whole chart, as it is eighth from the eighth house. And according to the Bhavad Bhavan principle, it makes the third house even a bigger death inflicting house. So Saturn placed here in Pisces shows that death would probably come from Saturn's Mahadasha, and also the Antardasha was Saturn. So I think the only thing Saturn did was wherever it's placed, it delays the things because it's the most slow moving planet. And that is why I think he was in the hospital for quite a few, like quite some time, because Saturn must be delaying the eventual departure of the soul from the body. And I think that's about it. Thank you.